John Bull joins us live in downtown Louisville with this special report. And John, you're in a very familiar spot right now.
Yeah, David and Connie, this is Preston and Jefferson, where we usually go for homeless stories because it's lined with stuff, it is obvious, and it is easy. What's not easy is getting the homeless to let us into their lives for an extended period of time. But I was able to follow two couples, one from Kentucky and one from Indiana, for 24 hours to show you what their life is like. There isn't a lot of color in the homeless world. Today, there's a lot of white. At sunrise, the wind chill temperature has dropped to 20 below, the coldest day in decades here. Inside a tent in the woods off Lexington Road in Louisville, a woman named Ginger is painting her nails.
And I never knew about homelessness, really, ever. I've always been spoiled.
It isn't a big deal for her boyfriend Jonas, raised Mennonite.
We didn't have no electricity. We didn't have a house that we could go into where you could flip the switch or turn the thing on for warmer or colder.
I left society 2 years ago because of a lot of things that was going on with the court system. This is teaching me how to keep the struggle right there, so I know that I'm never taking 1 day or 1 second for granted.
It's too cold for the two dogs and cat to fight or even move. Heated by propane, next to plenty of food. Jonas and Ginger don't even have to leave to restock. What do you do for food?
We do most 98%, 95% of it is from the outreach people, yes, that show up out here.
How often do they show up?
On a daily basis, yes.
Opposite story across the river.
It's going to be a long 3 days. But I'm not going to kick them out at 7 a.m. when they get frostbite.
Exit Zero has set up an emergency cold weather shelter at a church, but not everyone is so kind.
Whenever we do actually ask for help, they're like, get a job. I'm like, it's not that simple.
Kevin and Jenny are leaving early to walk from Jeffersonville, Indiana, to Jenny's job in Louisville.
This is the coldest I've ever had it in my life.
She works 40 hours a week at a convenience store. According to National Housing Coalition figures, at minimum wage, a person would have to work 60 hours a week in Kentucky to afford the cheapest one-bedroom apartment. Wind picking up now, Kevin leaves her to look for a warm meal. He stops at the Franciscan Kitchen, a place where so many homeless depend on midday food.
Yeah, they closed because the schools are closed. We really needed them to be open today.
So what now? Idle time can be dangerous for the homeless. 2 months clean, he and Jenny fled Georgia, where they were using and selling meth.
I'll stay outside and try to avoid the gangbangers and scrounge for food, pretty much.
When Jonas and Ginger emerge from their snowbound tent, they won't need their surfboard. They resume a daily routine, going just down the road to visit friends at a large homeless encampment on railroad property with dozens of tents. Being homeless can be boring and frightening. A tent catches fire at another camp not far away. A vivid illustration why many diehards are giving in and going in. So is Kevin. Even though he and Jenny are staying in the emergency shelter in Jeffersonville for 3 nights, he has to check in to keep their bed in the low barrier shelter where they've been staying in Louisville, that was set up without the rules that keep many from seeking shelter.
Reminds me of jail, pretty much.
Really?
Yes.
In what way?
Jail. From the fights to narcotics.
His bed is valuable. A city of homeless is growing right outside in the sub-zero weather. As the sun sets, outreach groups stop and serve hot drinks. They unload trunks full of warm clothing to people waiting in lines. Then Kevin goes back to pick up Jenny, who's been dealing with lines too.
We got backed up with customers, and we did everybody can win lottery. This one lady got caught drinking beer in the store. It was insane.
Not having to go back to the chaos of the low-barrier shelter for another night feels like a vacation for Kevin and Jenny. When you're homeless, even with a job, there's a lot of time to think. Settling in again for bedtime at the Jeffersonville church, Jenny thinks about her 2 daughters she hasn't seen in a year.
It's just crazy how easy things can you just lose everything, you know?
Over at Jonas and Ginger's place, there's propane-powered positivity. They're adding another room to their tarp-layered tent. And Ginger's going to start selling the jewelry she's making out of scrap wire.
And a lot of people up underneath the bridge, they don't know the power that they've really gotten to themselves because they stopped caring. Somewhere down along, care stopped. Whether it be losing your kids, losing your housing, somewhere along the line, something happened where the respect went down the drain.
Now, when I was watching Jenny at her job, a homeless guy came in and tried to buy coffee, and he didn't have enough money. She spotted him the money, got him his coffee. So think about that. You had a homeless worker buying hot coffee for a homeless man on a 20 below night. Some people understand a little bit better than others do.